What if the person you miss most is not the person standing in front of you, but the dazzling version they introduced during week 1? Love bombing can feel like finding the answer key to your own heart. Then the attention cools, the promises blur, and you start working overtime to bring back the opening scene. Today, we are not diagnosing anyone. We are learning how to recognize a destabilizing pattern, protect your pace, and keep your common sense wearing shoes. We will separate genuine excitement from coercive pressure, examine the crash that follows, and finish with boundaries you can use without turning dinner into court. Intensity and intimacy can feel identical at first, but they are built from different materials. Intensity is speed, volume, surprise, and constant contact. Intimacy is time, honesty, repair, and room for two separate people. One can arrive before dessert. The other has to survive ordinary Tuesdays. A fast beginning is not automatically dangerous, but speed should never substitute for evidence. Let the relationship show how it handles boredom, disagreement, boundaries, and delayed gratification before calling it destiny. When the pace slows, notice whether curiosity remains. Intimacy keeps learning who you are, while intensity often insists it already knows everything important. Before we turn every bouquet into courtroom evidence, remember this: enthusiasm is not a crime. Some people are naturally expressive, generous, or excited. The useful question is not whether someone did something romantic. Ask whether affection comes with pressure, whether your independence remains welcome, and whether warmth survives a reasonable no. Look for a repeating pattern across time. Flowers are evidence of flowers. Respect, patience, and consistency are the evidence that matter when you are deciding whether a connection feels safe. A respectful connection can hear questions without treating them as betrayal. It can also handle separate plans, outside friendships, and a pace you genuinely choose. The speed frame appears when a new connection seems to demand immediate certainty. You may hear that nobody has ever understood them like you do, that waiting would insult the connection, or that commitment should happen before ordinary questions can breathe. Notice the pressure, not just the poetry. Healthy excitement can tolerate a calendar. If slowing down creates guilt, panic, or punishment, that response gives you useful information. Your first date should not require a merger agreement, matching tattoos, and a shared accountant. Try naming one ordinary delay, such as waiting a week before deciding. Their response may reveal more than another evening of spectacular declarations ever could. Mirroring feels wonderful because recognition is one of our deepest social rewards. A person may seem to share every value, dream, wound, hobby, and unusually specific opinion. Similarity can be genuine, but real compatibility also makes room for difference. Pay attention when disagreement finally appears. Can both people stay curious, or does the perfect match collapse the moment you have your own preference? They love your obscure accordion podcast too. Delightful. Just wait until somebody chooses a different pizza topping. Ask open questions instead of supplying your own answer first. Genuine overlap survives detail, while strategic agreement often becomes vague when the conversation gets specific. Future talk can create commitment before the present relationship has earned it. Vacations, homes, marriage, children, and matching porch chairs may appear in vivid detail while basic reliability remains untested. The future itself is not the problem. The question is whether grand plans are supported by small, consistent actions today. Treat promises as possibilities, not deposits in an emotional bank. The imaginary beach house may have excellent Wi-Fi, but it still cannot answer whether this person respects your time next Thursday. Bring the conversation back to the present. What have we actually built? what decisions are necessary now, and which promises can safely remain imaginary. Why does the opening feel so powerful? Novelty, focused attention, anticipation, and validation can light up the brain's reward system. That reaction is real, but it is not a certificate of compatibility. A powerful feeling tells you that something feels powerful. It does not predict how someone will behave during conflict, inconvenience, or disappointment. Enjoy the sparkle while keeping your observation skills online. Your nervous system has accepted the free trial, but nobody has read the renewal terms yet. Keep enjoying the connection, but continue sleeping, working, seeing friends, and making independent choices. Balance gives excitement somewhere solid to land. Early certainty can feel soothing because new relationships normally contain ambiguity. Repeated declarations like forever, soulmate, or nobody else understands us may temporarily erase that uncertainty, but confidence spoken loudly is still not evidence. Let certainty grow from repeated experience instead of borrowed language. You do not need to argue with beautiful words. Simply hold them lightly until behavior catches up. A velvet voice can announce that the bridge is finished, but your sensible little shoes should still inspect the planks. Replace certainty questions with evidence questions. How do we solve small misunderstandings, respect separate lives, and respond when one person needs more time? The first useful clue is often small, a promise casually broken, a boundary treated like a joke, or tenderness that disappears when you disagree. One mismatch does not define a person. Repeated mismatches deserve attention. Instead of protecting the original fantasy, compare words with observable behavior. Ask what happened, how repair was handled, and whether the same issue returned. The orchestra may still be playing, but if somebody removed the floorboards, it is reasonable to stop dancing and look down. Record the mismatch in neutral language. This reduces the temptation to excuse it immediately or inflate one disappointment into a complete verdict. Then comes the temperature drop. Messages slow down, affection feels conditional, irritation replaces curiosity, or contact disappears without a direct conversation. Distance can happen for many ordinary reasons, so avoid mind reading. Ask clearly, observe the answer, and notice whether communication becomes steadier or more confusing. The concern is not one busy afternoon. It is a repeated cycle in which warmth vanishes and you are expected to earn it back. Welcome to emotional winter. Apparently nobody packed a coat. Choose one direct question rather than 10 anxious guesses. Clear communication may resolve an ordinary problem, while evasiveness makes the recurring pattern easier to see. Ordinary distance can feel unbearable after an extraordinary beginning. This is the contrast effect. Your brain does not compare today with a neutral baseline. It compares today's silence with yesterday's flood of attention. That gap can create urgency, even when the current behavior would look clearly unsatisfying on its own. Try asking a cleaner question. If the relationship had started at this present level, would I choose it? A sandwich feels tragic only after somebody promised to deliver the moon on sourdough. Measure the present on its own terms. Notice the actual frequency of care, clarity, and repair instead of using the honeymoon as your permanent ruler. Unpredictable affection can create a chase loop. A warm message arrives after silence, relief rushes in, and hope resets the entire story. Because the reward is uncertain, attention may become even more focused on the next sign of warmth. This does not mean you are foolish. It means variable rewards are extremely good at holding human attention. Break the loop by tracking the overall pattern instead of celebrating isolated jackpots. The slot machine has learned your favorite emoji, which is frankly very rude. create distance from the reward schedule. Silence notifications, choose a check-in time, and evaluate the full week rather than the latest emotional surprise. Sometimes you are not longing for the current relationship. You are longing for the emotional state created at the beginning: certainty, importance, possibility, and constant attention. Naming that difference can reduce confusion. Ask what you miss specifically, then ask whether it exists consistently now. Grief for the opening is still real grief, even when the opening was not sustainable. You may be waiting for a movie that never premiered because the relationship only delivered an extremely convincing trailer. Separate the memories into two columns: what was promised and what became consistent. That distinction honors your feelings without letting nostalgia edit the evidence. When affection disappears, self-blame offers an illusion of control. If you caused the change, maybe becoming calmer, prettier, easier, or endlessly available can reverse it. Pause there. Relationships are not repaired by one person shrinking until conflict fits around them. Review what was actually requested, what was communicated, and whether responsibility is shared. If the standard keeps moving, perfection will never catch it. Your personality is not a customer support ticket, and love should not require 27 unpaid revisions. Ask what responsibility genuinely belongs to you and what belongs to the other person. Shared problems require shared repair, not one contestant endlessly auditioning for warmth. Now replace the story with data. Write down promises, actions, broken agreements, repairs, and how reasonable boundaries were received. This is not about building a prosecution file. It is about protecting memory from dramatic highs and painful lows. Look for consistency across several weeks, not one perfect weekend or one terrible evening. Patterns become easier to see when they leave your head and land on paper. Dr. Wiggle has brought a clipboard, so romance is officially sweating under the studio lights. Use dates and concrete events instead of labels. Specific observations make it easier to discuss concerns, seek perspective, and choose without exaggerating or minimizing. Your body cannot identify another person's motives, but it can tell you how the relationship is affecting you. After contact, do you usually feel grounded and clear, or vigilant, confused, and briefly relieved? Check sleep, concentration, appetite, and the urge to monitor your phone. These signals are not a diagnosis. They are prompts to slow down and gather more information. Butterflies are charming guests, but when they begin filing incident reports, it may be time to inspect the building. Compare how you feel during contact, immediately afterward, and the next morning. Repeated recovery periods can reveal a cost that exciting moments temporarily conceal. Set one calm, reasonable boundary and watch what happens. You might slow the pace, keep existing plans, decline constant texting, or postpone a major commitment. A respectful person may feel disappointed, but they can discuss the limit without humiliation, threats, or punishment. The goal is not to test someone with a secret trap. It is to express a genuine need and observe whether mutual respect remains available. No is a complete sentence, not an escape room with 12 hidden keys. State the boundary without accusing or over-explaining. Then give the response time to unfold, because respect is measured through behavior, not one polished sentence. Slowing down is one of the simplest protections against a confusing cycle. Keep your routines, friendships, private time, finances, and major decisions intact while the relationship develops. You do not need to become cold or suspicious. You are giving reality enough time to arrive. Healthy connection can tolerate pacing because it is not dependent on immediate surrender. Say, I like this, and I want to take it one step at a time. True love can survive Tuesday and probably Thursday too. A slower pace also protects accurate choice. Both people can discover real preferences before chemistry assigns them matching uniforms and a suspiciously ambitious mortgage. If you are caught in the hangover, stabilize before making dramatic decisions. Sleep, eat, reconnect with trusted friends, return to familiar activities, and reduce compulsive checking. Write down what has happened in plain language. If fear, isolation, or coercion is present, seek support from a qualified professional or local resource. Clarity often returns when your nervous system is no longer sprinting behind every notification. First, we drink water. Then we solve the Gothic romance with suspiciously excellent cheekbones. Do not use friends only as a jury. Ask them to help you remember your routines, reality check specific events, and restore ordinary perspective. Here is the final takeaway. Do not judge a relationship only by how magical it feels when everything is easy. Watch what happens when you slow down, disagree, maintain your independence, or say no. Safety is revealed through consistent respect, not opening night fireworks. The fireworks may have been beautiful, but now we inspect the wiring. Next, Dr. Wiggle follows the tiny trail of attention into Lesson 12, the breadcrumbing trap, where a few carefully timed crumbs can keep hope sitting politely at the table. Tiny, irregular signals can feel more compelling than clear availability. Bring your clipboard because the crumbs will attempt to look romantic.